Hi, everyone. Great to have you with us today. I'm Stephanie Simmons, and this is the backstory of how AI is affecting all ages, from school to joining the workforce and even in creative outlets. Joining me now is AI and automation expert, Dr. Patrick Dix, back with us. Great to have you as always. Let's talk AI in the classroom. This has been an issue for the last several years now. So how is it being used at each level?
Well, at each level, let's just put elementary, middle school, and high school all together. They're teaching kids how to use artificial intelligence to help out with research, to come up with problems. When I say problems, let me rephrase that. They're using it to help them escape problems, if you run into a roadblock or something. But the biggest thing, as a consumer and as a parent, I will be worried about is my child relying on artificial intelligence too much? Because once they get that information, they could use it to write their whole paper. Back in the day, you used to have to go to Google, go get books and cite information. Now you could say, give me a 4-page paper or a PowerPoint presentation on information. And, even in elementary school, we need to teach kids about how these things work. So as they get older, they'll be more proficient with it. So at each level, they're teaching all of them, teaching elementary, middle school, and high schoolers how artificial intelligence works. One of the things is with elementary school that I don't agree with, some of the things we're teaching them, by the time they get to the workforce, it's going to be obsolete. We have to pick the soft, sweet spot to teach them correctly, but we have to also understand if somebody is in the 3rd grade, it's 9 to 10 years before they enter the workforce. What they learn is already obsolete. So the core audiences we probably want to focus on might want to be 7 through 12 because you're talking in 4 to 5 years. Those are your next workers.
Yeah, I guess you could say that to all of us, though, because we were learning how to balance checkbooks. And then when we finally got out of grade school, nobody was using checkbooks anymore. And we were also square dancing. And nobody just does that for a job anymore either. So I guess that's that comes with the territory as far as how to start kids and what age group. But I do know that it does impact creativity because we've spoken about this at length before. This technology is going so fast and it is just so rapid that they don't have the rules in place at the school level. So talk to me about, okay, if a child is tasked with writing a paper, how will the teacher know if it is written by them with their own brain or if AI wrote it?
Well, as a person that's in the academic field, we use safe assign and we use turn it in, but they're not always correct. We get false positives. And as a professor, I don't know if this is your work or not. And a teacher wouldn't know either in the classroom. So you gave a student a topic to write about botany. Let's say write about the cardiovascular system, 3 pages. We don't know if they wrote it or not because all the references are in here. There's no way to fact check and understand if they wrote that paper or not.
So the ways to fact check that technology is still a little bit behind the times, you're saying?
Yes, it's very behind the times.
So what are teachers doing right now then? Okay, so say you tasked me with that. I used AI and even told AI to write it in my voice, and I say cite the sources, AI, and just do all the work for me. I mean, what's the teacher doing to, if she doesn't have like that safeguard as far as the technology to combat that? What are they telling the students?
Well, many of the teachers are going back to pen and paper, having students write in class.
Okay.
Going back to the old school way. I think we should also go back to Scantrons.
No, Dr. Dix, not the Scantrons.
They go back to Scantrons, but they're having many of the students writing pen and paper, or you can have a computer in the classroom that has no internet access to say, you got to research and write that up. And the students are going to look at you and be like, what? Yeah. You got to go back to the original way. That way we know it's your work and it can't be contested and it's credible.
Okay, all right. Well, at least they're trying to, because the teachers want these kids to learn. They don't want to take the easy way out, because then you're always going to be taking the easy way out. I worry as a mother, my son is 10 now, and I worry about creativity, the creativity aspect. And, and even as far as video games, like when they're out of school, there's still this technology where AI is being used in that. So they're getting it in the school, they're getting it at their playtime, and we limit it, but there's only so much you can do as a parent. I want to see these beautiful brains working.
Well, AI is killing creativity. It's also killing critical thinking. You know, you run into a lot of problems. I explained to y'all yesterday about how the plane got delayed to get over here yesterday. AI couldn't have fixed that because now you're at the moment's notice to where maintenance they had to be done on a plane. It's like, do you want to take this flight or next flight? It's up to you. And what people will rely on, AI, what should I do? Should I cancel and tell Stephanie and Rachel I can't come? And that's when critical thinking skills come in to say, I need to get over there no matter what because I promised I'll show up there. So that's a great example of using critical thinking skills or fixing something. But when you're able to put something into artificial intelligence and it gives you the answer, you're like, oh, I ain't got to worry about it. I'll just throw it in artificial intelligence. And that's not the way we should teach adults or kids.
So as far as the positive aspect of it when it comes back to the classroom, I know it helps teachers with creating lesson plans, so they're not doing that the whole summer and working through their free time. I have had educators tell me that that's been really helpful. But how does it help kids? Say the kids are all on the same page like we are. No, I want to do the work. So how can they use it to enhance rather than just to straight cheat?
Well, they can use it to give them more difficult questions or research assignments. You know, you could use AI to say, talk to me about current events or something that is happening right now and let me write a paper on it, or let me talk about this topic tomorrow in class. Because, a lot of people don't know what Cliff Notes are. Cliff Notes just give you a summary of what a book or movie was about. So you could say, artificial intelligence, give me a Cliff Note on the current events or what's going on overseas or here. So I want to talk about this and I want to write about this in my paper. That is a good way that a student can use artificial intelligence that's not cheating, but it's actually helping them to understand more, to say, hey, I need something in 5 minutes. Let me strengthen my critical thinking skills and understand more, so I'm going to use it for this.
Okay, and what is it doing to attention spans for these kids?
It's shortening it even more because, when you can just put something in and it gives you all of the results, you don't have to read anything. I like to have a book in my hand. I'm one of those old school people. I like to touch things. The library now has books everywhere because everything is digital. They came out with the Kindle. Amazon came out with that years ago to where you could read books on the go. Yeah. You didn't have to carry them. But now with artificial intelligence, you can just get the review of a book and not even have to read it.
Where's the fun in that even?
Well, people are on the go. We're in a microwave society. They said, I need it now. I need it now. I don't care about reading the book. Give me the highlights or page 10, 15, and the rest. That's all I need to know.
We keep talking about the advancements, but I wonder if there's going to be this overhaul where it's almost like we go back to the old days where it's like taking it back to the 80s where people don't want any of it at some point.
I think we're going to slowly get there because we're just pushing it. We talked about no regulations. Everything now is AI, and people are tired of it. So eventually they're going to go back and say, let's just go back to the ordinary way.
Yeah, I see that with social media, too. Already people are getting off of it because it's going too fast. Oh, okay. Our producer, Rachel, is wrapping us for our first break. We could go on and on, but if you stay with us, we will go on and on. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We are here with Dr. Patrick Dix, AI and automation expert. Okay, we're talking about AI in the classroom at every grade level. So we're dealing with a literacy crisis in our country right now. Is AI helping or hurting with that?
It's absolutely hurting it because we have what we call tablet kids, and they're used to tablets everywhere. Many of the school districts have Chromebooks. Kids are used to seeing somebody's mouth move as a teacher, but now they're like looking at a device. And how is that going to help them strengthen their reading and comprehension skills? The best way to strengthen those is to get them a newspaper, get them a book to read and said, hey, write me a paragraph on what you just wrote. That is a good way to strengthen the literacy skills because you have to regurgitate what you just read.
Yes, and then I feel like the face-to-face communication and socializing there, even like in speech class, things like that, that's going down the hill. And writing, just your A, B, C's and D's, kids are having trouble actually writing letters because they don't really have to anymore. They have to type it.
Yeah, a lot of the problems started once they took cursive handwriting out of the school districts some years ago, which they're trying to bring back. I don't know why they ever took it out.
It's a beautiful thing, but my grandmother, really quick story on that, she wrote my 10-year-old son in cursive a happy birthday card. He couldn't read it. That's not funny. It's not funny, but yes, kids, they don't know because it's not important anymore.
Yeah, everything is like a DocuSign. You can digitally sign documents, and they're not forced to sign anything.
Yeah.
We have to get back to where you can write a letter, and that's why it's hurting people in the workforce because they cannot get jobs because they can't read a standard operating procedure or they can't write out what's happening or what's wrong.
So let's talk about AI use in college and getting those jobs.
Well, in college, one of the things I recommend using artificial intelligence for is to see what jobs are out there and what degrees do you need to go to school for. So one of the things I recommend people to do is trades, healthcare, mental health. Those are some ways I would use artificial intelligence, and that's what I would recommend people to do. But then you can use artificial intelligence to say what areas pay the highest salary, what parts of the world, because some people don't want to live in the U.S. They want to say, I want to go around and come back to the U.S. So you can use artificial intelligence for that. And the last thing you can do is, how should I write my resume? Not let it write it for you, because the machines now can flag it. What should my resume contain? The thing I tell people about artificial intelligence, use it as a help tool, not a all tool. Use it to help you out.
Because if everybody used AI for all of their resumes, they're all going to look the same with different names on the top, right?
Yeah, because if you use artificial intelligence once to write a resume, when it comes back the second time, it's going to look a different way. And it's the same thing.
Yeah, and you need to stand out anymore. Okay, so you've talked a lot in the past about trade jobs as far as being safe. So are we talking electricians, machinists, things like that?
Yes. A little backstory. I grew up on a farm, so even in agriculture, technology is affecting it, but you still have to have people fix the machinery. My dad had a paint and body shop. Auto mechanics, I tell people, you could be a multimillionaire right now changing oil and tires due to the cost of cars. Electricians, people that do HVAC, it's hot. People that do construction, those jobs, even though they're using some form of AI, you still have to have your hands to do all the work.
Okay. So, and what about firefighters and jobs like that? Are they running the risk of being taken over?
No, not absolutely not. I don't see AI. They have drones now that they're using to help them fight fires versus getting on a building. Just think about it. If you had a drone versus risking a firefighter's life that can take the hose up there and hold the pressure, and they can squeeze it and shoot it everywhere, it's to enhance the job. But no, we're not getting rid of police officers, firemen, and EMTs.
Good. Okay, we like the enhance, not replace.
Yes.
What about AI's impact on entry-level jobs?
Well, many of those jobs, per my dissertation I wrote, states entry-level jobs, because they're repetitive.
Yeah.
You can use machine learning to get rid of those jobs. So that's why you're seeing the surge of entry-level jobs just go away, because artificial intelligence, along with machine learning, can do those jobs. And right now, companies are just trying to find ways to make the most revenue without people.
Okay, I know this example applies to a lot of parents who their children are going into college first year. So I have a family friend. His daughter is going to LMU, so you're paying a lot of money to go to college, and she's going for finance. Now, you said repetitive, that's spreadsheets, numbers. I would think, based on what you've said in the past, that job is not going to exist. But this gal said at their orientation that they are talking about how to incorporate AI in finance. So what do you think they're doing to do that, to avoid the spreadsheets being taken over?
Well, they're already using AI, so you're going to train the software to get rid of you. I would not go into that finance field.
Okay.
You're training the software to do the job for you.
Okay. So maybe they're just taking people's money and saying that they won't be replaced. Okay. That's one that really stood out to me. All right. We're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back with more and Dr. Patrick Dix. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, we're moving on to the topic of AI affecting creative fields and outlets. So I'm going to read you the definition. It is art is the conscious use of skill and creative imagination, especially in the production of aesthetic objects. So, Dr. Dix, what say you? Is AI really art? Can it really be art?
Well, I don't think it could be art, because when you talk about art, you're talking about a human living organism, a mammal. We'll get scientific, a mammal that has a vertebrae, that's us, that is actually thinking or painting something or drawing something. They're getting the inspiration from something. AI is duplicating and is living off of data and a model. But when you think about Van Gogh or somebody that did those paintings, that was art because they had nothing to go off of with technology. They free-handed all of that, or Michelangelo painting something, so yes.
So an AI model could technically recreate that painting
The
if they
original.
wanted to. Yeah.
You know, there's an old saying, there's nothing like the old song by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Tyrell, there's nothing like the real thing.
There isn't, but you know, when you grow up in a world of AI, we really wonder what laws are going to be put in place when it comes to this. Okay, so your thoughts on fights over whether or not companies can use an artist's work to train models without permission or licensing?
Well, my thing is, if I was an artist, I would go ahead and license it. This is what I've talked to people about. Get ahead of the curve, license your likeness to get paid off of it. Just like with the college football right now, the NIL, you know, the name and image likeness, they just say, we're just going to buy into it. Why go ahead and fight against it? You might as well just say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and license it. Either way, AI is going to do it. Just like if you were an artist, Stephanie, you don't know if your music is being used by AI to recreate a song. How about go ahead and say, I license it. These are the royalties I want to be paid, and let's roll with it.
Okay, so AI is essentially killing Hollywood, and Hollywood's trying to keep up with it, and the SAG-AFTRA union as well, trying to protect jobs. But right now, movies are being made with AI for $2,000. They're replacing animators for cartoons. What protections are in place right now, and is this even ethical?
Well, a couple of years ago, SAG was out there saying they didn't want AI to come for their jobs. And there are no protections right now. You know, even you think about certain industries, they're fighting to try to put regulations in. The best thing they could do right now is lobby, get in with your congressman or congresswoman and say, look, we don't want this industry to be killed, because they had a film that premiered, it's July right now. They had a film premiered last month that the young lady, it was about Iran or something. It premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival, had no real actors in it. And that person is going to make a killing off of it. And when you see things like that, the media industry is like, we could save $40 million. Bam. Let's go to this.
Well, and then that brings me to the next level of this question, a part two, if you will. Val Kilmer passed away, but he was in the middle of doing a movie when he passed. And so the production company had to ask his family to use AI to get the rights to his image to help make the rest of this movie. They consented because Val Kilmer was one of very few actors who liked the idea of AI to enhance this industry. But what are your thoughts on having an actor or an actress in a lead role of a movie posthumously?
I think it's a great thing to bring the dead back to life.
By use of AI?
Yeah, long as the family consents and they see the paperwork that said this is what it's used for. Anytime you want to use it, you have to get written and explicit information from but if the person puts that in and say they don't want that to happen, there's nothing you can do.
Okay, so what about bringing back an actor, Marilyn Monroe? I mean, where's the line?
If her estate agreed to it and they said, hey, we want to bring back Marilyn Monroe in that movie, The 7-Year Itch, if somebody in their family estate wants it done,
wow.
I mean, I'm open to it. If I, was a Hollywood mogul, but I understand the ethical line, but somebody might say, I want to really see how Marilyn Monroe acted back in The 7-Year Itch. That was the name of that movie.
But it's not really her.
But somebody might say, hey, I want to see the closest thing I could get to it. Even Gone with the Wind, they're like, hey, some of those people bring back Clark Gable. Let's see how everything worked.
So for me, on a personal note, I would want to see an actress put her blood, sweat, and tears, which we have in a lot of these docuseries and, these reimaginations of Marilyn Monroe's life, just for an example of one of many actor and actresses. That's their job. Like, you're taking a lead role from a live person. So I don't know.
Well, what would be the difference of when Michael Jackson passed, they used that hologram up on the stage?
Or Tupac.
Yeah. What would be the
Prince,
difference? They're using a hologram.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I just wonder, like, what protection would have to be in place then?
To make sure that image could not be reduplicated without the explicit or written permission of the estate. Now, if somebody passed before they passed and say they never want AI to be used, there's nothing you can do.
Okay, so it would have to be preemptively.
Yeah, they say it, but if they were like, I'm open to it once I pass to finish a part of a movie or something, you could do it. But if they say, or they were vigilantly against it, you can't do it then, because that's not what they wanted.
Yeah, but it probably would be posthumously because it helps the family out. The family gets the money essentially, right?
It depends on how much, what the royalties that they get from it.
Interesting. Okay, we could go on and on with this topic. We are going to take another quick break, and we'll be back with your final thoughts on this. Stay with us, everybody. All right, welcome back, everybody. Almost out of time. So final thoughts. We want to talk about, again, the music industry. They are investing in AI. So final thoughts on that and how consumers are responding to this.
Well, many consumers, just like myself, I want to hear real artists. I want to know the artist wrote their lyrics. I want to hear the production. I want to hear the composition of the music. I don't like AI being used in music. You know, music is something that's very authentic. You know, somebody sat there and wrote the song, or even if they freestyled it, but they had to sit there and think of something, or they were living through somebody else that said, I saw what happened to them. Now I want to put this down in lyrics.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of fans will tell you they love Taylor Swift because she used her life experiences to write her own songs, and now you've got AI writing songs for artists.
Well, AIs can just write songs on just what happened, you know, current events today, July the 1st, like, well, America's 250, let's create a song and some lyrics about America's 250 and hand them off to you, Stephanie. This is what you need to sing and write about. Not write about, this is what you need to sing and record.
There's no heart in it. Okay, we could go on and on about this topic. We will see if laws can keep up with this ever-changing AI technology. Dr. Dix, thank you for being here. I'm Stephanie Simmons, and this is The Backstory.